All right, this is the second video in the self-trauma series, and this one's about learning to trust yourself. I'm feeling called to do little guidelines before we jump into the self-trauma. Um, so when we talk about learning to trust yourself, this goes a lot. This goes with learning to trust yourself, with making decisions day by day. This goes to trusting that you're on your right path, trusting that you know when you're wrong, trusting your instinctual habits, trusting that you know what you need to do, trusting that you can keep yourself accountable for your emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual attachments, reactions, and lack of. Trusting yourself has a lot to do with money. Trusting yourself has to do a lot with love, with all these things within yourself, internally and externally. So when we are in the energy of not trusting ourselves, we do feel lost. We're the only one on the physical plane that we 1000% know that we can determine on. If we don't do something, then nothing happens in our life, right? And that's the first thing you really have to understand about trusting yourself and what trust is when it comes to yourself. If you can't see how your own choices are causing issues, you work on that with being more observant of your thoughts, of how you think, of how you see things, switching up your thought patterns, because see you can build up a false trust, a false sense of trust, the same thing where you can run into a false friend or someone that doesn't necessarily care about you the way that you believe that they do. You can full on trick yourself into that same energy as well, because it has to come from somewhere, and it has to come from within a view, and then someone else you meet that feels that they could have a domination over you or a leverage of you, which is your ego taking leverage of you yourself. So be very aware of that. Be super aware of that. The best way to work on this is really by seeing what you do every day. If you feel like something's off, trust yourself to know that something's off. That doesn't mean point your finger to the quickest and sometimes even the most obvious thing that's comes to your mind. Sometimes it can be hidden, and sometimes it's not the thing that you think it is. Check yourself a lot. Become your best friend. What would a friend do in a situation? They wouldn't just let you go around and hurt yourself and act a fool. They'd go, hey, let's don't do that. That's not going to help you. Or don't worry about this because that's not what you need to do. Don't engage in things just because it fills up time. Trust yourself. You make plans with yourself. You make ideas and say you're going to do all these extra things, but you end up not doing them, and that becomes a betrayal to yourself. You end up not trusting yourself as much due to the lack of cooperation that you have. Learn to cooperate with yourself. Learn to truly follow through with plans. Learn not to plan too much for yourself as well. Don't be an overachiever. There's not a need to overachieve when it comes between you and yourself. If you can just complete one goal you set in a day, you're fine. You can't do everything in a day. And a lot of times when you plan a lot and you don't get everything finished, you go, oh well shit, I couldn't get everything I wanted finished, so that means I can't do anything else anymore. And you go down this pipeline of telling your brain that all your plans, all your ideas that you've had, even though they're good ideas, you're just not going to do some of them. And then you start giving yourself reasons, or start paying attention to the reasonings of those things. Of, oh, I can't do everything because I woke up late. Well, trust yourself to see that, and you need to start waking up more. Trust yourself to go to sleep earlier. Really step in that leadership role of your life and take more control over what you're doing. You can always fix every issue within your life, but you need to trust yourself to be able to do that. And we like to rely on other people's trust because we think that they have it put together more than us, or we see them in a position. It's like, oh, you must have everything put together. Not really, no. And we tend to do that a lot because we project this lifestyle out that we want to live, and we see someone else living it or adjacent to it, and we instantly believe that they have everything made out. This is the same thing with people who have like billionaires and things. Some people look at them and be like, oh, they must be so happy with all that money. If I had all that money, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be sad or have anything, any worries in the world. But who knows? That person might be just completely depressed. Most people with a lot of money are, because they don't really know what to do with it and they don't really trust anyone and all these things. Just learn to trust yourself, though. Don't project what you're desiring or what you're wanting out. Um, don't say that things are impossible. Don't limit yourself to smaller ways of thinking. Trust yourself to go outside and take a walk for a while. Trust in yourself enough to let you know that's going to be something good for you. When you ask, what do I want to do today? Trust yourself that you'll give yourself the correct answer. Like, oh, I want to do these things today. And then trust yourself enough to go do those things, even if they're new, or even if it's something a little bit tantalizing, or it's going to be time consuming. Go ahead and do that thing. It's building trust. It's building a connection, a relationship with yourself that tends to be disconnected, because we externalize relationships all the time. We externalize everything. We try to over professionalize things. We try to make things look mature, or, and you know what I mean. We over exaggerate on basic things. We feel like we have to have everything together to do certain things. Not really at all. If you have a plan, take action on that plan. There's not a need to wait or to restrict yourself from that. Work on really seeing how you truly are. Work on seeing your truth. And that's how you can trust yourself even more. The truth is, some things you don't feel like doing. The truth is, you hold yourself to higher standards and you can really fulfill at this time, or that you believe that you can fulfill at this time. Sometimes you overplan, sometimes you underplan, sometimes you put so much on your plate to where you can't pick it up, or sometimes you don't put anything on your plate at all and wonder what's going on. There's so many ideas that you have that you're not doing, and that's causing a lack of trust within yourself. You don't trust yourself that something's going to go right. You don't trust yourself enough to see the brighter side of life. You don't trust yourself enough to leave that relationship. You don't trust yourself to take a step out and start a new life. You don't trust yourself to make that move. You don't trust yourself to send that message. You don't trust yourself to use your voice. You don't trust yourself enough to ask and receive. You don't trust yourself enough to receive. You don't trust yourself enough to give. All these things, you have to do it for yourself first. You have to start living for yourself and not off of how someone else's life looks or is deemed to be. Start moving at the own beat of your own drum. Trust yourself. Trust your path. Not everyone's gonna go to the same place, despite what everyone wants to think. Not everyone's gonna go to the same place. Someone might go to heaven, someone else might go to heaven. They in two different heavens. Someone might go to hell, someone else might go to hell. They in two different hells. But because we want to have this energy, we want to have this not even energy, but just realization and overstanding and experiencing of togetherness and us all being together in one place, that we get so stuck with that, and we don't realize that even though we're all here, we're all doing something different, and you end up trusting someone else whose path is completely different than yours. You end up being a follower instead of just allowing them to show you a path to walk down, instead of just walking with them. Don't look at things like that. Allow yourself to truly expand your vision, expand how you're seeing, expand how you trust yourself. Even if trusting yourself is trusting yourself enough to know that something's not for you. And a lot of people think trust is like, oh, it's I have to trust myself so I can go out and do things. Well, sometimes you got to trust yourself not to do things. Sometimes you really can't do something, and you're bumping off this energy of false hope of like, yeah, I can do this, I can do all these things, and you end up trying it, it doesn't work. That's okay, but you should have trusted yourself enough not to. You have to talk to yourself. You have to know who you are. If you can't do something, then you can't do it. It's okay. Trust yourself enough to do that, because you might end up getting hurt, hurting someone else, or worse, by doing those things, by doing something that's outside of your range. You have to work up to that. You have to build up the resistance. Some people just aren't meant for things in this life, and that's perfectly fine. So you have to understand who you are. Who's telling you to do this? Are you over planning? Are you over setting higher goals or setting higher boundaries for someone else, or is it setting it for yourself? Are you removing people out of your life because of yourself or because of them? Are you trying to change someone, or are you trying to change yourself? All these things you have to look at. Are you just saying things because you deem it to be right? Are you very opinionative because you believe that's why you're here? Or are you being opinionative because you haven't had your voice heard and you just want to be heard, but you're not listening to yourself either? You have to look at things in this type of way to really see what's going on, because so many people in this life, in this world, go off this tangency of believing that they know everything because of the way they experienced it, whenever their experience unfortunately is nothing compared to the grand scheme of things. A lot of people can't grasp like that, or like that. A lot of people's experiences in life really are nothing. And it's not to say that they don't hold any value, but in the grand scheme of time, a lot of things that we experience are so small, they are so short-lived, that it shouldn't have any sort of like control over us. So understand that, deeply understand that. Trust yourself enough to start that mission, to continue down your spiritual path. A lot of times you think that you can't do the spiritual path because it's too hard. Is it too hard, or are you just not seeing the right way to do it? Because I'll tell you this, not everything in life is going to be easy, but if you do things the right way, they have less restrictions, they'll have less pain involved. If you do something right, there's less repercussions. So you have to ask yourself, if everything feels against you, what are you doing wrong? And what are you doing right? But you have to trust yourself with that power, because the power of questioning, even if it's questioning yourself or someone else, or just even looking at something and wondering about it, that's a lot of power that comes with that. Because then after that, you form pathways, you form pipelines that change you, that will change your trajectory, that will change your mindset, that will change others' mindsets, that changes the energy around you. You have to be aware of that. This is all the things that you trust yourself with on a hyper conscious level. But we aren't always in that hyper conscious energy. We're not always looking at things in such a high vibration, in such a high tone. We tend to get lost in the sauce because we're faced with it. It's the only thing that we can see visibly. We don't listen to our other senses. We think that senses is about seeing, but senses is about feeling. It's touch. Everything in this world, in this realm, is touching you. So understand that. When it comes to trusting yourself, how are you feeling about things? How is it touching you? How is it making you feel? Is it rough? Is it smooth? Is it buttery? How is it? Use talk to yourself like this. Allow yourself to see the brighter picture of things. And it's not even saying brighter, and a lot of people think this as well, and I don't know where they get this from, but when I say look at the brighter side of things, that doesn't mean to look at the happy, oh, look at all the high vibrational. No, brighter. It's light. What does light do? Light makes things visible. Look at what's the most visible to you. That doesn't mean the happiest. Sometimes your happiest days are in the dark. You know what I mean? So when I say look at the brighter side of things, look at the side of things that's showing you. Look at what you're able to see, what's actually there, what's blinding you. You're blinded by the light if you stay in it for too long. That's what you have to understand. And a lot of people end up walking day to day, walking in the light and being blind because they're not seeing what they need to see. You can only see the light in the dark, and you can only see the dark in the light. Because when you're looking at the light, it's blinding you. It's going to blind you at some point, and you'll be right back to darkness. It's how it is. It's the cycle. Look at things as they actually are instead of how you want to believe them to be. That's the issue with the world. That's the issue with the trust in yourself, is you're believing in things instead of knowing things. You get an idea, and that idea turns into a thought, then into a feeling, excuse me, and then it gets turned into a thought. But when it comes to a thought, you're like, yeah, I believe I can do that. But you're thinking it, and you know it because it's been told to you, and you know what you think. But then you say, you know it's a belief. So then you get confused. It puts you in a contradiction because you're not trusting yourself enough to do it. You trust yourself enough to imagine it, but not to actually be active on it. And that's the problem with a lot of people in today's times, is no one's taking action. They're taking beliefs, or I'll send my energy and love to you. Yes, but what can you do on the physical as well? Because you're here on the physical. And when you're faced with problems on the physical, you need to take physical actions. Yeah, you can take spiritual actions. Yes, things happen in the spiritual first, but where's the physical action? Where's the change going to be seen? Where's the change going to occur? Where's the change going to be felt and noticed and acknowledged on the physical, not in the spiritual? You might be able to feel it, but feeling's part of the physical. The senses that we have, the things that we see, the ideas of 4D, 5D, 6D, all these other dimensions are all on the physical plane. They're labels. Anything past this realm doesn't need a label. It doesn't need to be defined and boxed in. Understand that. There are things that we have to label them to understand, because we're not at that conscious level yet, where we're fully hyper conscious, to where we're fully within our subconscious and know these things fully and act on them. We're still in the energy of believing. Some know for sure, but they don't know it all. They know what they're able to comprehend, what they're even able to see. Not everyone sees colors the same. Not everyone smells the same thing when it comes to food. Sometimes when you make a pasta meal, someone's gonna smell the noodles, someone's gonna smell the onions. It's like all these things that are going through. Someone's gonna smell the salt. These things happen. Look at it like that. People get so caught up in the ego because what they see is so big and vast, and this trust and self gets corrupted when you do that. What you see is a small glimpse of the actual big picture. And you can say we can put all of them together and see what it equates to, but at this state in time, not really. It's going to cause too much confusion. There's too many opinions, too many incorrect statements, too many lies, too many beliefs. And this is why people can't trust themselves. There's so much out that's not solidified. It's not stable. It's, oh, it could be this or it could be that. No, which one is it? It could be those things, sure, but what's the one thing it is? Look at it that way. You have to see things in that way. When you start grounding yourself within the spiritual sense and seeing things as they are, as they were created, how they're intended, and then see how the other opinions, the other beliefs can resonate with it, that you start to realize what's going on. The human mind is just creating more and more because it's not controlled. Do you really think about it? They don't want us to be in control. They don't want to control us. We destroy ourselves way easier, way quicker, and way more efficiently than they ever could. They're dumbfounded by it. I'm going to say them, by the Illuminatis, the higher power, the archons, the medias, everything of that nature. However you wish to see it. I'm tired of saying the word they. I want to start getting specific. But whatever you're intaking is your they, right? That's who they are, is your intake. Whatever your main focus on is what they is. It's the group. It's the thing that's controlling you. It's the archons that you're around. But that's what they're doing. That's what all these forces are doing, is they're just amazed that you would destroy yourself even more. You're allowing things that aren't interfering with your life at all distort it and contort it, because you're unable to trust in yourself of what to do, and you're looking outside for so many things instead of going within. The only thing you need to go outside for is for meditation, for wanting to go outside to seeing the beauty of the world. And you go inside not to see the horrors and the destruction, but to see the beauty of you. Going internal more, looking at things from your point of view, not going around thinking that you know the truth because you're on a certain platform. That's ego, because you can't even trust yourself. Don't go around saying, oh, if you knew the truth, then you wouldn't be doing this. No, because what does that mean? Whoever said that also doesn't know the truth. They're just stupid at the same. Like, I ain't got a better word to say it. They just the same. They're stupid about it. Because they're on the exact same thing, doing that exact same thing. They're a robot. They don't even know. That's the contradiction. People got to understand that. And it comes from a lack of self-trust. Some of it does. It comes from a lot of things. But part of it comes from a lack of self-trust. A lack of really seeing who you are and what you're trying to do in life. A lack of moving forward with determination. A lack of trusting yourself enough to even see what you're typing or what you're saying or what you're intaking and seeing it as something that's valuable or invaluable. Trusting yourself not to waste time anymore and to take action. Trusting yourself that the questions that you have in life for yourself or for what you're going to do is going to push you forward. Looking at these things like that. Not getting so lost in the energy that you can't float around or fly anymore, but walking around in the energy enough to understand it, to get in the get an even flow of it, to follow it when it goes up and to follow it when it goes down, to allow it to guide you and not thrash you around. And you have to trust yourself to do these things. You have to see where you're going, what you're doing, what's your plan, how are things correlating, how are things not correlating, what isn't part of your plan, what don't you want to have happen, what do you want to have happen. All these things can and should be questioned so that you can trust yourself. Once you have a solidified plan of what you desire to do and what you want to have happen and all these things, everything will get better. You won't get shook off your rocker. Your plan will be there. There'll be nothing else to really test you with. But ask questions to yourself. Figure out what you're doing. Don't make it esoterical. You're looking outside. You're looking at stuff that's hidden. Don't make it exoterical. Keep it inside. Look at it from how it is. Why don't I feel good? Why do I feel good when I hear these messages? Why do I feel bad when I hear these messages? Why do I indulge in these things? Why don't I indulge in these things? What am I doing in my life that's allowing me to see the higher purpose of what I'm doing, and what's holding me back from doing those things? What do I keep telling myself day to day that I don't want to do anymore, but I still do? Why am I so weak-willed when it comes to these things? Why do I keep lying to myself, saying that it's okay, but then feeling bad about it later? All of these things you have to ask yourself about and really get down to the grounds of it. So you're no longer walking around in circles. So you're no longer walking around confused or lost. You're able to really see the grand scheme of your life and walk with it. You have a whole script of your life that you know deep down inside of you. It's up to you to read that script. It's up to you to act on that script and to move forward with it. No one else can do that for you. People can support you all day long, but only you can make those changes. Only you can truly move forward with that energy and allow it to move, not only you, but move through you and move with you and move outside of you. In all ways, always. Look at what lies you've believed in about yourself as well. That's a good way to trust yourself, without getting so deep. Someone calls you annoying, but you don't find yourself annoying, and you just say it because other people said it to you. Look at that lie. Were you annoying, or were people around you just unable to handle you? That's not your problem. You know, a lot of people's problems is because they're not open enough to be so authentic with themselves that it irritates them. People got demons that need healed, and you shouldn't be the one to take on their demons. You should be the one to move away from them. Another thing with trust is remembering that there is a polar opposite to everything. That's a good way to work with learning how to trust yourself. If you really feel like you can't get out of a situation, if you really feel lost and hopeless, just know that there's a part in you that literally knows that you could get out of that situation and you'll be fine. And that's what you have to trust yourself to see, is the polar opposite. When you think that something's so beautiful and it's always going to work out, that's good, but get real with yourself at the same time. Don't allow yourself to, you know, betray yourself into negative thinking, but see things as there's always going to be a polar opposite. If something doesn't work out, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It just means that there's something going on that doesn't allow that to happen. It might be something that you did, it might be something out of your control, it might be a decision that someone made. However, it doesn't matter. It's something that you need to focus on with yourself and be like, even if something doesn't work out, I still have the power to do it. The fact that I did that and I had the power to do those things, I can do it again, and I can do it better. I can do it more maturely. I can do it with more research. I can do it more precisely, however you need to do it. But all those answers come from within, and you have to trust yourself to do that. Don't allow failure to cause delusions or illusions in your life. Don't allow um, contradictions in the external world pull you down. You don't have to become custom of this world. Remember that as well. Trusting yourself is going against what this world has, what this world brings. The mainstream of things. If you're not wanting to follow those things, trust in yourself that you're doing things right. Everyone's gonna sound crazy to someone. That's how greatness has occurred. And greatness is, look up the word greatness. We all break those words down, you know. But it's important to see that. It's important to see the truth in it. It's important to sound crazy sometimes. And it doesn't mean to sound crazy to where like even you think you sound crazy, or to sound crazy by externalizing everything and blaming everything on everyone else. Be crazy enough to see where you are. Be crazy enough to say what you need to say, to stand on what you stand on, so that you can build this trust with yourself. Because when you hear like, oh, that person's crazy, that you internalize it as it being a negative thing because that person said that they were crazy and then started throwing a bunch of negative terms and negative energy on that. So now you don't remember or aren't aware enough whenever you hear it to know that there's two sides of it. Everything has two sides, and there are so many people in this world that believe that it doesn't, and those people don't know what they're talking about. They are good at regurgitating. They're good at throwing words up. They're good at fucking being the human centipede, but they're not good at being authentic. They're not good with speaking from their own heart. They're not good from being stable on what they just want to do and what they desire to do. And this is the thing. Trust yourself. Even if you're doing something with art or music or whatever, and the numbers aren't good. Let's say your numbers aren't going up and your social media platform's falling off. That's good. Allow that change to happen. Allow yourself to trust yourself, like the change you're making is allowing the stagnant energy that's been around you leave. It's making the energy of the people who don't need to be in your life or to be siphoning off of it. It's telling them to leave. They've now left. And it's trusting that that's a good thing. Trusting that change is always a good thing. No matter what happens, you're just losing dead weight. You're actually making room for more always. Trust in yourself when that happens. Trust in yourself when you're starting something new. Trust in yourself that you're always going to grow. Not every day is going to grow in the same way, but every day is bound to have a form of growth within it. You have to trust yourself to go down that path. And when you do, when you start trusting yourself, you'll end up growing in that way too. Always, always, always trust yourself. You can trust yourself. The only reason why you can't trust yourself is because you don't listen to yourself. And the only reason you can't listen to yourself is because you're too busy listening to other people, or you're too busy externalizing things. You're not listening to yourself. You're not doing what you desire to do, which then makes you not trust yourself. So work with that. Work with yourself. Learn how to work with yourself. Learn how to be the person, the energy that you desire to be, and don't let anything else around you perturb or throw you off that rocker. But this has been the little video on learning how to trust yourself with the self trauma. A lot of self trauma when it comes to trusting yourself as well comes from doing a decision and it being bad. And we talked about it a little bit, but just know that it's more than that. What limiting beliefs did you have over top of that? You know, what fear did you wait too long? All these things you have to learn to question yourself. You have to trust yourself to question yourself so that it's not seeming negative as well, because not all questions are a negative thing. Questions give you answers. You have to trust yourself that you know the answer to why things are happening around you or to you. um but that is the video on learning to trust yourself. Thank you all so much again for the support of the series. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Please do comment and like and share, just to get things out, because there are people who are looking for this information that don't see it due to the sea of the algorithm. And the only way to get messages like these seen is by boosting the algorithm. I don't even care if you just comment something random. You know, it's just about getting the message out. It's about playing the algorithm. It's about playing that same game that others are doing, but for the benefit of good, for the benefit of love, for the benefit of community, for the benefit of actually healing people. But I love you all so much. Thank you all for all the support, for all the donations, rather financial, I mean energetic or financial, excuse me, on that one. But everything's in the link. Everything that you would need to contact me or services wise or the Malachi Z workbooks, they're in the description. If you need anything else, you can email me though. Thank you all so much. I love each and every one of you all to the moon and back, tenfold and forever, and I will see you all later.